My brother makes jokes. He'd be like, I should have killed you guys, or I should have starved you when I had the chance. And I laugh because I'm like, clearly I'm here, so it didn't happen. All right, let's get souping. I'm always a huge fan of soup. Like I'm one of those people that could eat soup in a hot tub. Like I could eat it on the beach in boiling hot weather. I could have a nice like soup and be like, this is divine. Like this is absolutely divine. I can't remember the first, I used to have Mrs. Grass's soup, the chicken soup, which I still have it and I still love it, with like the little, you drop a little golden egg in it.
Filled with rich chickeny flavor.
And I've had that since I was in kindergarten. So like I remember having that kind of soup. I always like soup, so it's hard to tell when I'm sick because I would eat like a sick person, I guess. Every time someone got sick in our house, it went through every single one of us. But usually I was the first one sick. Like there was a year and I had like either the stomach flu or like some type of flu every month. So I would get sick the most, I would say, when I was little.
Just gonna wanna saute the asparagus.
Senior year of high school, I did pole vaulting because I wanted to tell my dad I worked the poles. And I ended up being good at like flinging myself in the air. Who knew? And then I chipped off a piece of my kneecap. So I had a cast literally from my thigh to my ankle.
Oh, that's life. Sometimes you put too much in.
I love hot tubs and baths. Which is also funny because now I'm thinking like I like to even like cook myself in a soup. Like this is hysterical. I never realized I was this person.
And those brown crusty crusts on the bottom of your pan are where all the flavor is what I've heard.
Sometimes on the bus stop I'm like, oh, if I was in a Panera Bread Bowl, I would never leave. Mrs. Grass, tomato soup. The stew. It's like a stew that my mom makes. My mom would bring a bowl into my room, and then like also she still does this sometimes when she hears me coughing at night. I'll wake up and there'll be like a hot water with honey, like in tea, which is also like a soup. So yeah.
Whatever dried dehydrated mushrooms you have, you're gonna want to cook those.
Maybe like having triplets forces you to be for other people. I think that's like such a good quality, like to think about other people before yourself. Soups always smell comforting to me. Like they don't smell weird ever. Like
It's not smelling that weird anymore.
so I think that's why I like soup so much.
I mean, it does smell a little weird.
I think if I were to have triplets, I don't know if I'd keep them. Like I don't know if I'd keep me.
I ran out of the wine. I don't have any more of the wine that I need.
We were like
Poured it all?
3 months early. Well, my brother was like a healthy 7 pounds when he was born. It's like great, like perfect. Got to go home like the next day. Like my mom said, like literally for the first year she didn't even have triplets because it was like my sister and I were in the hospital and like my brother was just home. But then my sister was really small. She was like 3 pounds. And then I think I was a little bit more than 4. But he was like, didn't have any sort of issues whatsoever. They didn't have to fatten him up. They didn't have to like make his lungs grow. Like my lungs were like severely underdeveloped. My sister, she was in an incubator way longer than I was.
I'm kind of improving it with soup. Because you can make anything a soup. All you have to do is have a blender and some source of heat and to cook it. And then a knife, you could just use a knife if you have that great of like blending skills. But that's all you need to make a soup. So this is an improv soup. It's called a quarantine soup.
But it's funny because my sister's the tallest and biggest. Like, I'm the smallest, and then my brother and my sister are just, like, huge. Like, and I feel like they all look normal sized, and I look, like, very miniature. So we're going to want to dump all of that into a blender. But it was just like we were like best friends. Like, I never was alone, so it was like I always had someone to hang out with or someone to talk to. Are you gonna eat this?
Oh, it looks disgusting. It smells weird too.
It does not smell weird.
Oh, you know what was really cool though about my high school that I forgot? So there's this like charity called Empty Bowls, and everyone in the high school, there's like this all-night bowl-a-thon where you stay up and you make these bowls, and then the local restaurants around my like neighborhood donate soup. And I used to do that in high school every year because my older sister did it when she went to my high school. That was probably the like catalyst of soup, and realizing that I liked doing things with soup, and it was an easy thing that you could put together and a social thing.
There's actually a lot of wine in this recipe.
Especially during this time, because it kind of is like an episode of Chopped. Like, you go in your kitchen and you're like, what do I have left? All right, let's make a soup. Because like in college, that's kind of great. Like when I would make like my friends soup, it would be like a cheap meal for them. So that was always nice. Or like if one of my friends was going through something traumatic, I would just be like, hey, why don't we just make a soup? Like, that's simple. Like, that's something to distract, and we can both like it eat it afterwards. You know when like you die and people drop off like food because they know that cooking is like really hard for you to do during that?
Just keep blending, I feel like.
Just keep blending, just keep blending.
It's almost like that, where it's like, hey, I know something that at least can make your taste buds nice and happy for a little bit. Like, here's some soup. Oh gosh. I made a corn soup, which was just corn. I made a mushroom soup. I made a beef stew. That was more like when it was colder during the quarantine. I made tomato soup. I made like a chicken noodle, but it was like chicken broth with noodles. So it wasn't like I like boiled the whole chicken, you know what I mean? That takes like days. That's like a ramen. Oh, I had a ramen. It was like a miso based ramen.
It smells like corn. I don't get it.
I made like a kind of like a fishy soup. Oh, I made mushroom and asparagus soup, obviously. I have done asparagus just on its own soup, and it was divine. It was delicious, like a lemon asparagus soup. Oh, I made a cauliflower soup. Well, there's never really a bad time to make soup. So I was just like, I couldn't sleep. I was like, you know what? Yeah, that was a 4 a.m. mushroom soup. It was delicious. Sometimes it's hard because I don't know how to help people, and I don't know how I can make it better. But I'm always trying, and that's how she was.
Oh, crap.
I truthfully feel stronger as a group than I do alone. And it's because I think to think that I'm all that I should be is stupid. Like, you need people. Like, you need other people. It's sometimes therapeutic, I think, for people to like plan something fully. Like go get ingredients, make it, and then you get to like reap the benefits of your work. And it's not something that is super hard, so you don't get overwhelmed by it. Like, it's just a process that you just have to see through, and if you mess up, no one's really gonna know. My sister would not touch the mushroom asparagus, and neither would my dog, which he eats goose poop. So I thought he was gonna eat it for sure.
He won't eat the soup.
Oh, I made a really good chestnut soup if you ever want. That's the next one I think I'm gonna make, is a roasted chestnut. Oh, I'll drop some off.